What I'm cooking, I'll wait for the main food because I have a small tummy. Once I begin to fill it up with some junk, and that is it, I won't be able to enjoy the wonderful meal I've made for myself. And you know, when as a human being we do not feel that hunger, that thirst within us, it means that we are sick. We need to visit the doctor. The same thing happens to us, and just like a red flag, an indicator that this person needs something urgently from where God has destined that we shall be. When there is no hunger for God in our lives, for the presence of God in our lives, for a walk with God in our lives, it is a big indicator that something is wrong spiritually, whether we like it or not. And you know, this system we find ourselves, this UK, is so much available. Humanly speaking, it may not be possible, but once the Spirit of God is there to quicken you, my dearly beloved brethren, He will give us that enablement. He will help us to achieve that. He will help us to walk in closer connection with God so that we can continue to live as His people. It is an error to allow other things to occupy the place of our hunger for God. It is a very big error. Just like I gave earlier on in my illustration that if some people are hungry, they will go and grab quick junk food. It is my prayer when you are hungry for righteousness, may you never go grab spiritual junk food. The only implication is that we may suffer from spiritual kwashiorkor. We may suffer from spiritual malnutrition, and it is not the desire of God. As mothers, as fathers, as a child, as a brother, as a sister, it is God's desire that we will continue to feed robustly, we will continue to feed healthy, have a spiritual man that is healthy, not a spiritual man that is suffering from hunger, because you are filling your emptiness with spiritual junk and desire from the bottom of your heart for that feeling. It is necessary for us to run this race to the end. That feeling is highly necessary for us to impact positively to our generation. You cannot just come here and live and die and that is nothing will be remembered about you. One of our sons says, we will be remembered by the works we have done, both the good and the bad. Which one will you be remembered of when you are no more? God said that a broken heart and a contrite spirit He can never despise. He needs that brokenness for us as we approach His throne of grace. Women that hunger for God are women who do not serve God only from their comfort zones. They are not the women that serve God when they are up in the mountain. They are not women that serve God only when things are going on well for them. No. They are not women that serve God when things are peaceful around them. No, rather we are talking about women that are determined to walk with God even in their challenges, in the midst of their sorrows, in the midst of their agony, in the midst of their problems and misery. That's the women we are talking about this morning. A sister approached me and said, Oluchi, are you sure that you lived for 11 good years without having a child? I said, yes. Why do you ask? She said, but you don't behave like one that is barren. I said, what do you mean? Maybe you expected me to, in the first place, write, I am barren, I have delayed pregnancy, and then if I'm going, I'll just be, men looking at me and say, what is wrong with that sister? I said, come on, no. As God has spoken to me that it is settled, for me, I've taken it on that, it is settled. Whenever the timing, I don't have his calendar anyway, whenever he feels that he's going to answer it and make it more known to us, it's all up to him. Then I'll have to mind my business. So we are not talking about women that are willing to, put on that stereotype and that everybody will see them and begin to pity on them. May God never pity any of us in Jesus' name. Yeah. We are talking about women like the woman with the issue of blood, in Matthew chapter 9, 20 to 22. Remember what she did? The Bible recorded that this woman has gone everywhere. No doctor is able to solve her problem. She had consistent bleeding. Not until she said to herself, if only I would touch the hem of his garment. What is a hem? A hem is just the tip of his garment. She's not even interested in hugging Jesus. She's not even interested in kind of shaking him, giving him high five. Not at all. His target is the hem of the garment. And immediately she touched Jesus. In the midst of all the people cracking Jesus and pushing him, Jesus knew that there is a spiritual connection. Jesus is looking for women and men and children that are able to touch him, and some power, something will go out of Jesus. That Jesus began to say, who touched me? The disciples were like saying, what is it? All the time. This man said, and he's over spirituality. You see this crowd of people packing here, and you are sitting there saying, who touched me? But Jesus knew that spiritual matters have been settled. And the woman said, I did. And Jesus had to consolidate her in. These are the women we are talking about. We are talking about women who count their lives lost for the sake of Jesus. We remember the story of Esther in Esther chapter 4 verse 16. The Bible recorded that for the sake of her people, yes, she's a queen, she's a beautiful queen. She's wonderful, she's an excellent woman. But what then will it give her? She's enjoying in the king's palace, whereas our people are languishing in pain. She had to summon the people and say, fast, declare a fast. I'm going to make a request which no man can make before the king. And she said, if I perish, I perish. Can you say that in your walk with God? Have you gone to that level where you say, God, if it means dying, I'm ready to die, I don't care. Because I know once I close my eyes here and there, I shall open it up there in heaven. These are the women we are talking about. They are the women, they desire to see God's righteousness and deliverance established in their own land. Mary Magdalene, Ruth, Deborah, there are many of them. They are all women in the Bible. They are the people that sought to know God at all risk, and they were determined to walk with him. These are women in the Bible. Yes, you may say, yeah, they are old women. What about the 21st women's century? We have some 21st women's century. Some of us who've known about Catherine Kuhlman. She's an American evangelist. These are women that dedicated their lives to the work of God. They hungered and thirsted for righteousness to be established. They brought men to the foot of the cross, to the glory of God. Today, her words speak volume for her. Another woman is Joyce Meyer. Some of us may know her, or maybe you have read her book or heard her preach. These are women that are determined, they sought God at all costs. She demonstrated her desire to know God in her daily living. Then the question is this: can your name be added on the list? Can my name be added on the list? As a man that sought God, as a woman that sought God, as a child that sought God. That is what we are talking about. What type of work shall you be remembered for when you are no more? Do you just want to live? Fulfill your 12 daily activities of life? Maybe build, buy house here, get children, do all manner of things, well-established human being. But when you are no more, what can the next generation remember you for? God is seeking for women who will walk closer with him in raising godly generation. Like Timothy. Remember Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5. This generation. Have you identified your own area of spiritual emptiness? Have you identified your own personal area of spiritual hunger for God? What areas? I have my own areas. You have your own areas. What are they? Verse 6 says of our text says, blessed, wonderful are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. There is a need for that filling. If you have not yet been